You just take it to where you're sounding like me right there.
I think that right there sounds pretty good,
sounds
huh?
good.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mr. J. Hey. Uh-oh.
Yeah.
I'll just have to show it to you.
Let's see. Bang.
Bang, bang.
You've been feeling all alone, living in your skin and bones. Open your eyes and breathe. And I've been waiting for some time to close my eyes and call you mine. Darling, I just need you to see that everything you are is with me. That everything you are is with me. We have waited all our lives to pack our bags and say goodbye. Honey, I think that it's time. Well, let's ride with the windows down. We'll listen to our favorite town song, and I'll make sure to sing it loud. 'Cause we're living our lives now. 'Cause we're living our lives now.
If Birds Can Fly, check them out. They're awesome. Good friends of mine from Appalachia, Virginia. Check them out, man. I can listen to them all day. Today, I sit down with Jason Salley. Jason and I go way back, but we've never sat down and talked. And this is how it went down. Check this out. Mr. Jason Salley, what's up, bro?
What's up?
Yeah. We have to wash your hands because of the, what do you call it? Coronavirus. Man, that's strong right now.
That's apparently pretty legit.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, these 200 deaths, right?
Quite a few, yeah.
10,000 cases. Nobody in the United States is dead, right?
Nobody's dead, but it's caught some momentum here. There's several states, I think, that
there is 17,000 something people die each year just from falling.
that's a fact. People forget about things like that.
Google it.
Unreal.
I'm serious, man. So man, this is actually the first time we've ever sat down and talked.
Sure is, yeah.
And it's good to see you. I want to know. So I've been following your posts, and I'm seeing you up on these mountains. You're at Mount Everest, and you're everywhere, all over the planet.
Yeah.
What's been going on with that, man?
Man, just a very fortunate guy to start. Man, where do we start?
Well, okay. First of all, I see you up on these big mountains, man. What possessed you to start? Because you're doing something that everybody wants to do, but or they say they would like to do it, but they don't ever take that effort to do it. I mean, I've been Mount LeConte, but you've been to Everest, bro.
It's I was one of those people too that I'd always dreamed about going out, traveling the world, doing some different things, but I was also that guy that never really put any planning to it. I'll tell you that I think anybody that knows me knows that I'm a chronic dreamer, and I love to really think about the things that I dream about doing and try to find a way to put those dreams into action. And it wasn't until about 2016 that I got real serious about doing some global travel and trying to plan out the way that it was all going to go down. So at that point in time, I started to save my money and really try to formulate in my mind what it is that I wanted to accomplish on the road. And a lot of that was built around climbing those mountains, kind of pushing myself and seeing how far I could go with it.
So, and I know that some of those mountains are very intense. And I know you've had some intense moments to where you're like, what am I doing?
Unbelievable. I'll tell you a term that I'd heard coined once before is called type 2 fun. And it's when you're actually working your way up the side of a mountain and you're suffering. It's painful. Your muscles hurt. You have a pack on. It's not very fun until you reach the summit. And at that point, that's really where you get the joy, and you really get the fun of it all, the accomplishment.
Does something like the adrenaline, does something, what takes it when you get to that summit after going through that I guess, torture.
Yeah,
You put your
it's
body
fair.
through.
Yeah, yeah.
And then you get up there and it dissipates.
It's just a release. You're looking out over the beauty that, that's before you, and then you look at where you started to where you're at, and it's really hard to put it into words, but
Wow. No, I
amazing.
mean, I get it 100%. And it's so why, I mean, what do you think possessed you to want to do that?
I think that part of it's probably growing up in the mountains here. East Tennessee is one of my favorite places in the world. I've just been fortunate enough to be, born and raised here. But to be from the mountains, I've always had, an affection to be outdoors,
Right.
and hiking and climbing. That was instilled early. So it's just really caught fire as I've gotten older.
So when you were young, or I mean, you probably spent a lot of time at Bays Mountain. Or
I
whatever.
did, yeah.
What about LeConte? I know you've been to LeConte.
I've been around LeConte, but honestly, I've never climbed it.
Dude,
I've never climbed LeConte.
man, you got to start there, man. And LeConte is amazing.
I've heard amazing things about it.
Actually, my son Levi, I took him up there when he was, I want to say he was about 8 or 9, and we got to the sand cave, and again, it's when your body's like, shoo, I've been,
Hurting.
well, it's not on the level when you're talking Everest, but it's still a level where, I've been eating, mac and cheese for, wasn't ready for it. So I'm at the sand cave, and people who've been on LeConte knows, you get to sand cave, you got another 2 miles.
Mm.
And so I'm up there, and I look at him, I said, hey, man, it's about another 2 miles. Well, 2 miles to 8-year-old, they're like, I don't know what that means. So we got another about 3 hours,
Right.
and it's straight up. We can go back to the truck, or we can do it. I was like, we're going to do it.
Let's go.
8. And I'm like, dude, if he's got that, he just gave it to me because I was ready to go back to the truck.
Yeah.
So we finished, and we got up there, and it was snow. Just 2 more miles, and here comes snow, and I got his picture somewhere right beside of a sign that says "Do not feed the bear," and that made it all because he's like, "There's a bear up here." And so when you get there, like you said, it's like, I'm so glad I did it. So we come back off the mountain, and I shit you not, dude was asleep before we pulled out of the parking lot. I was like, man, that ain't fair, bro. Now I got to drive way home. But it hits you.
It
once
does.
Once that release is gone, you're just like,
I mean, for me, I think it's probably different for everybody, but when I'm climbing the side of a mountain or I'm on an intense hike, there's a fire that burns. It says, I'm not going to fail. I'm not going to not make it to the top of this once
Right.
I've started. And I think that builds up to that anticipation at the end, that release.
So what's the biggest one you climb? What's the highest peak you've been at?
So the highest peak that I've been to the foot of Everest, which was 17,600 feet. It's up there now. We did take a climb on the same trip that took us up to 18,500, which is an area called Kalapatar. And
Kalapatar, yeah.
unbelievable. And it's 18,500, so it's legit.
So are you wanting to do Everest all the way, or one day? Is that something in your goal, or?
It hasn't been,
Okay.
not until I got there. And then when
Oh.
I got there and I started to meet the people of the area, it's not something that I'm planning right now, but it's something that I would certainly be interested in, I think,
Really?
down the road, yeah.
Now that's something you really got to plan.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, lots of training.
Years into it.
Absolutely. And it's expensive.
It's what, 50 grand?
It's at least 50.
Yeah.
I think the permit now is around 60,000.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
So I watched a program one time where Hell's Angels went, and I can't think of the guy's name. Maybe I'll Google it, but he's one of the Hell's Angels or whatever, and he made it.
Mm.
He went all the way up, and he's a big dude, probably 6 whatever. And you have to Google it, I guess, but I say that, and you're like, man, he was 5'11". What you doing? But he looked big on TV. I don't know, but he looked like a tall guy, man, and he made it. And I watched a little series of him, meeting the townspeople or
Yeah.
the people that's been up there so many times. They're just, and I don't know how these people do it.
Unbelievable. They're superhuman almost.
They're like mountain goats or something, man.
They're just different. They're born and raised in altitude.
So that's why it's so much. You have to have those with you, don't you? You have to have a few of those, or you do it on your own.
So you can do it. Well, to climb Everest, you have to have support. But if you just want to do the base camp, you have the ability to do it independently if you'd like. It's not, it's frowned upon because of the altitude. And there's a lot of altitude sickness, obviously, and everybody's body responds different to altitude. So I chose to have a Sherpa guide with me that did 2 things that could really help monitor the way my body reacted to the altitude, and then secondarily be able to tell me about the area, give me the history on kind of what I was seeing.
Wow. So tell me, what's one of the times where you were, say, in maybe 3 o'clock in the morning, and you're on a mountain alone?
Mm.
What, maybe woken up by something, just maybe rapid heartbeat or something, and you're of fear. Tell me something about your fear, maybe in that realm of it being in the mountains or whatever.
Yeah, it's a great question. There was a point in time where we started to get up into some significant altitude, and we were in a town called Namche Bazaar, and it's right in the middle of the Himalaya. And
That even sounds scary.
yeah, it's actually
Namche Bazaar.
Namche Bazaar.
No, tell me again.
Namche Bazaar.
Namche Bazaar.
Yeah, and it's really the last major city that you get to, last major village you get to before you really get into desolate area in the Himalaya. And we really started to get into the altitude, and I'm asleep one night, and I was woken up to the exact thing you mentioned here: rapid heartbeat. Just kind of shortness of breath. And just the gravity of where I was kind of hit me there for a second, because your body feels different. Yeah, it is almost a bit of a panic. You're just trying to catch your breath, and you have a constant headache because your body's trying to acclimate to the altitude. And you really kind of take inventory of where you're at, and what you're doing. So, it was a reality check, but at the same time, it was a bit scary. But I shut my eyes, went back to sleep, got up the next morning, we're back at it. It was all good.
Really?
Yeah, but it was just, to your good point, more of a realization of kind of where I was, I think.
Yeah, it's a gut check. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, it's just that's crazy. It would be scary for a lot of folks, because a lot of people panic if they are an hour from a hospital.
Sure. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? you got these people that live in this area that's never been out of the area.
Mm-hmm.
Never.
Yeah.
The closest, I guess, the furthest away that some people in this area has been is Gatlinburg. That's a trip to them, bro.
Yeah. Or maybe Myrtle Beach, right? Maybe
Bulls Gap,
Yeah.
bro. Maybe Bluntville.
Right.
See, I ain't never been out of Blunt. There's some people around here that ain't never been out there, man. And that's scary to me.
Yeah. Yeah. There's, the world's a big place. There's a lot to see.
And even when I stayed in New York for a time, there's people in New York that's never been out of New York. So they was like, "Where you from?" I said, "Tennessee." I said, "Oh hell no, I ain't never going to Tennessee." And why wouldn't you go to Tennessee? He said, "Nah, y'all crazy down there, man."
Everybody's just barefooted,
Yeah, everybody barefoot. Y'all, y'all ain't going no Tennessee. He said, "I got a friend that live in Georgia. If I was to go see him, I bypass Tennessee." I'm like, dude, it ain't that bad. It really ain't.
Yeah.
But there's people that's never been out. So your itinerary, what made you decide?
Yeah, so I chose the places I wanted to go, first off, based on the fact of where the mountains.
Okay, so how many countries have you seen so far?
Overall, I kind of lost count, but at least 30.
Wow.
Yeah, so working 30, 35, I would say.
Really?
Yeah.
So how did you choose those?
They've been sporadic up until this trip. This trip was rooted in climbing. I wanted to hike. There was also other areas that I wanted to see. Specifically, one of my best friends, from early in high school, late middle school, early high school, his name was Zdravko Simikic.
Wow.
And Zdravko was from Bosnia. And, I was green behind the ears, East Tennessee kid, never left the area like we were talking about earlier.
Yeah.
And he left war-torn Yugoslavia. Left the conflict and moved here to East Tennessee with his family. And, I learned a lot from Z about the world, about Europe, about his home country. And he'd always talk about how beautiful the Bosnia was and how beautiful Europe was. And really kind of lit my fire to want to know more.
Right.
So I knew that when I took a trip like this, it was going to include. We lost Robko a few years ago. He passed away. So I wanted to honor him by going to visit his home country that he told me so much about and pay homage to him and his family. So that was, part of the framework of my trip. It was outside of that, but that was definitely the hiking. Wow.
Is this something that he done living? Is that how he, approached his death, is by living?
Absolutely. I mean, he was full of life. He joined the U.S. Army. He protected us. Just an amazing story, amazing human being, but a great worldly outlook.
That's crazy. Now, speaking of that, I mean, you see how we got together is I got a message from your brother, Tyler. So I got a message one day. I was like, "Hey, I see you do a lot of videos." I'm like, "Yeah, man." he said, he's doing a video, he's doing an interview with WJHL or something like that, and he said, I'd like for you to interview. I said, heck yeah, I've been looking at some of that stuff. I said, absolutely. And then a few weeks later, so where was you at when you heard the news?
Yeah, so it was October 18th. I had just made it. I was on my way down from Mount Everest Base Camp, and I went to bed that night. The next day, October 19th, I got a phone call and a message first thing in the morning to call home. And, I called home and received the news that we lost my brother. Tough day, and emotionally taxing because I was coming off one of the most, the highlights of one of the best days of my life to falling into the worst day of my life.
Wow.
So an emotional roller coaster like
and
I've
you're
never experienced.
4,000 miles away from home or whatever.
Yeah. So it was a situation to where, it was 2 helicopters airlifted me from the Himalayan mountains to Lukla airstrip, which is about 9,000 feet elevation. And then from there, a helicopter that brought me to Kathmandu to catch the first commercial flight home.
Wow. Yeah, that was, rest in peace, Tyler, man. And he's the why this is happening, right?
Well, I got to think that he was really excited for me to meet you, and he had a lot of respect for you, and I'm sure he's watching this right now.
Absolutely. He's the reason this happened, bro. So, and I remember he introduced me to you at Biggie's one night when we were playing music, man.
Yes, sir.
And he said, I want you to meet my brother, man. I said, yeah, what's up, man? I think you lived in Nashville at the time. I don't know where you lived at that time.
Yeah, it was Nashville, yeah.
Yeah, and we was there jamming.
Getting after it. Doing
man.
what you do.
But yeah, rest in peace, Tyler, man. This is for you, bro. But yeah, man, it's I don't know. You've seen a lot. What about the different languages, dude? That would scare me.
It's funny how far that we've come with technology in terms of that.
True.
There's apps that help. People know better English than I think what I even realized before I left. There was some areas where you really have to talk with your hands, or you have to draw pictures on a napkin or whatever it may be to try to convey your point. And that's where things become a challenge. But, I really didn't encounter too many areas to where they really
So if you hunt, so you just draw like a fork and you draw like a little chicken or something?
Or, if somewhere I knew I needed to go, if there's something, right? If there was a landmark, try to write the landmark, or, or look up the name of what it is and write it down, things like that.
So, well, what about, I got you one. What about, was there warnings if somebody says, hey, you go up there, you better watch them spiders, bro, or snakes, or because other countries got some crazy stuff over there.
That's a really great question, and no, there wasn't. So I think that Europe and Asia, from what I've seen, is very liberal with that type of thing. It's more of if you go and you embark on this trek, you're doing it at your own risk. Whereas in the U.S., there's a lot more safeguards in place. There's signs, there's railings. It's not a whole lot of that going on abroad.
That's still kind of. So you just doing if you just like Everest. I know there's bodies still there, right?
Yeah, there's bodies still on Everest.
They just can't get them down.
That's where they rest, And when the snow thaws, sometimes, you get a surprise from what I've heard.
Really?
Yeah.
How many do you think's up there?
I don't know. And I should, because there was actually a memorial area when you're on your way to Everest Base Camp. You go past this beautiful memorial that remembers some of the lost hikers from Everest, and it gives the number, but I can't remember.
So you think they just get up there and they just can't? Because I know if you get up there, you break a leg, you break an ankle, you're gonna be struggling to get down, man.
Yeah. I think there's a lot of different factors. I think when you're in the mountains,
Heart
conditions
attack,
change, weather conditions
oxygen
change. Absolutely, your body reacts, differently to different elevations.
You think somebody maybe knew it, like say, I'm about to go, and I'm gonna go to Everest and go. Some people, you never know about spirits. You know what I'm saying?
No, absolutely. I think it's definitely a possibility. If you're going to go, what a way to go, huh?
Especially if you say, well, I don't want nobody to visit me, man.
Yeah.
And if you do visit me, you're going to have to go through a lot.
Right. Yeah, that's deep, Mike.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's deep.
If you visit me, you're going to have to go through.
Yeah. You're going to have to really want to come visit
You're
me.
really going to have to want to. It ain't going to be like a Sunday drive after, eating up here at whatever with some taters in you. It's going to take a couple years planning.
You're going to have to train. You're going to have to spend some money.
Man, that'd be cool, man. Do you think about it? Because a lot of people, like, let's say celebrity, and people go around trying to dig him up and take pictures and go to Everest, bro. You know,
Yeah.
just throw me up at Everest somewhere or ocean, whatever. That's another thing. But yeah, man, I've got this little background behind you. I hope that sees you, man. I don't know if that's any place you've been, but
Oh, it looks a lot like Greece.
you been there.
I have, yeah. I spent 3 weeks there.
So, what about which is the what do you think's the one of the most beautiful countries you've been in?
It's such a hard question, I tell you, but really my mind goes immediately to Norway. Just because
Yeah, I've seen
Norway is just it's really hard to even put into the proper words, but Norway is just every turn it's different, and the landscape changes as you move south to north in the country. Really, really cool. And their laws are really flexible towards people that like to go out and hike and backpack and camp.
Really?
Because you're able to set up shop on public lands with no concern. Something that you really can't do, here in the U.S.
That's true. Unless you're homeless. And
Yeah.
you sit up, behind the dollar store.
Right.
For a little while. And I don't know where it came from. It just hit me. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I mean, I'm thinking backpack and tent. The guy that. Let's go back to the Appalachian Trail. Have you ever thought about that one?
Something I've thought about, but not really, anything that's on the
The
priority
reason I
list.
say that, the guy that hatcheted the people up,
Mm.
and I dealt with him maybe 2 days before that happened.
Wow.
Yeah.
I remember when that happened.
Yeah, he was tripping, dude.
Mm.
He had a dog with him and a guitar I remember seeing the big hatchet,
Man.
And he said, and I had to run him off from a place there from a previous job I had, but he would talk to me for a minute, and he would talk to a tree for a minute. So I knew there was something wrong, and medication maybe he just wasn't right. So thank God he didn't flip out then and start trying to carve me up, bro.
Yeah.
So,
Man.
but that was a crazy situation.
That was a bad deal.
Yeah.
That was.
And you just never know. Like I say, on those hikes like that, especially in other countries, where I don't know. I guess you had to plan it to where the risk wasn't bad for military or some kind of guerrillas or something.
Yeah, you have to be cognizant of where you're at, and you have to be smart to make sure that the trails you are on and the paths you take are safe for the most part, as much as you can be safe.
Because I had a buddy of mine, man. He was telling me he was over in, I forget. It's somewhere in Asia. I can't remember where it was at, but it was somewhere to where they actually had militants or guerrillas or whatever.
Mm.
And they was in a taxi, man. They just got through doing something, eating somewhere or whatever, and he was like, all of a sudden the taxi driver said, "Get in the floorboard, get in the floorboard." I'm like, "What?" He said, "Get in the floorboard. If you want to live, get in the floorboard." And he's like, "What?" And all of a sudden, man, he could hear these guerrillas or these people coming by, man, looking for Americans, dude.
Oh, that's.
And he said, dude, he just froze. He said he couldn't even hardly lift his hands. He was so scared. He said they went in a hotel and stayed for like 2 days and didn't come out.
It's real, it's real. And people, I think that things like that are what really, kind of keep people from wanting to travel globally.
Yeah, it has to.
Yeah, there's concern.
But I don't know. I've never really had a passion to do that, but I've had a passion to live, to where work doesn't have you bound, or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I like to set myself up to where I don't owe a lot or whatever. And I know a lot of people are bound to a factory, or they're bound to a job, and they live it, and they can't live.
Right.
And
Exactly.
I know so many people that's retired and died within a year.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
And I think maybe that's because they may die of boredom. They may die of, maybe their body's not used to sitting around. And our bodies aren't used to that.
No.
Or
no,
they're
you're
not
right.
made for that. I mean, anything sits around, it'll rust up. And it's no good no more.
No, right. Exactly.
You got to keep moving, man. So what's your future? What's going on, man? What are you going to do next?
Well, the future is to finish this trip. There's still things.
Oh, you still got some more to go.
There's still some things to do. On the original itinerary, it was starting with Norway, and then from Norway to Croatia, and then from Croatia to Greece, Egypt.
Oh, man.
Obviously, Bosnia when I was in Croatia, but then from there it was make my way towards Asia.
So you've been to Egypt?
I have, yeah.
So did you go to the pyramid?
I did, yeah. It was amazing. It was amazing.
Okay, so maybe I do have something I might need to do that. Only because I can't. I can't. My mind, it boggles my mind to understand how they did that.
Well, I got to tell you that, I think we've all thought about that. Growing up through school, you hear about the pyramids and you wonder, do they really look like that? Are they that big? But I can tell you that driving through, old Egypt to get into that Cairo area, unbelievable. I mean, it's everything that you see in the skyline. It's all pyramids. They're huge.
I mean,
camels everywhere.
So when you say huge, what are we talking about? How big is a pyramid? That main one. How big is it?
I don't know right off, but I can tell you that they tower over the sky.
You think some aliens brought it down? What's up with that? You know what I mean? Let's get into some deep. I don't know. I ain't gonna pull no Joe Rogan here, but that's crazy. I don't see how that was possible.
Unreal. I mean, the blocks are just massive.
Because it's symmetrical.
So symmetric. So
Perfect.
when you look at the pyramids from distance, they're all symmetric, and it goes off into the distance in a symmetric fashion. So it's insane. I mean, really, it's hard. It's hard to imagine how it could be that perfect.
Okay, let's put it on a scale. Like how tall is it? Do you think? I don't know. We'll probably have to. I can't.
Yeah, we might have to Google it. I don't know.
Google how tall it is.
Yeah,
And I got because you've Mount LeConte is 50 something hundred feet.
Let's take a look here.
And I can't, and I know it's nothing like that. I mean, but is it like a half mile up or?
Let's see.
I don't know.
I'm trying here.
No, you're good. And then what's it?
The Sphinx.
Sphinx.
All right. So, any guesses?
I'm gonna say
In feet.
In feet. I'm gonna say 1,700 feet.
So 481 feet.
Okay, 480. I was way off.
481 feet.
I'm thinking of a mountain. So okay, 481 feet.
And this is the Great Pyramid. Yeah.
Okay, let's keep going. So 481 feet. Let's put that in perspective. Okay, a mile is 5,000 something feet, right? He's on it over. Boy, my thumbs are going, boy.
5,280.
I was on.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so 5,280 divided by 400 and what?
400 and what do we say? 80?
Yeah. You don't have to be exact, but
Yeah, just call it 12.1.
12.1 of a mile.
Yeah.
So, 12.1.
12.1, right?
So 12.1 of a mile.
Of a mile, yeah. Tall.
So okay, one more time, get it out. Let's do this. We're going to try to put this in perspective. So, how tall was the Empire State Building before it? No, it was the Twin Towers. Empire State Building's still there, right?
Yeah.
Okay, my bad. I was thinking something else.
Okay, so the Empire State Building is 1,454 feet to the tip.
To the tip.
Yeah.
And that's straight up. We're talking about cranes. We're talking manpower with
Lots
machines
of
and steel. And yeah. So right in the middle of that somewhere is the pyramid. And we're talking, that's up in the clouds.
It's up there, yeah. It's up there.
So 480 feet. Now, how wide? That's the big thing.
And it's important because they are incredibly wide at the base.
I don't know what. Just put square footage of the Great Pyramid.
All right.
It's got to be there. We can't be the first ones asking this question. 480. There has to be something significant about 480.
Let's see. Okay, so let's see. So tall, 480 feet tall. Each side is 755 feet.
Each side.
And the footprint is 55,000 square meters or 592,000 square feet. So we're talking big numbers there.
592,000 square feet.
All on the back of a human, right? So we think.
Okay, time out. One more and we're done. How many square feet is an acre? So we said 58,000 square feet? Is that what you said?
Yeah. 50.
Yeah, it was close. I don't know. But it was 55,000 square feet?
Let's see, 43,560 square feet in 1 acre.
So the pyramid is over an acre wide.
Footprint of the Great Pyramid, 592,000 square
Five.
feet.
Oh, so
592,000.
I'm sorry. So an acre is 43,000. I'm messing this up.
Nah, you're good. Let's see.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Don't you love technology?
Oh yeah.
I usually have my guy in the back. He's on a computer, but he was.
43,560.
Oh my God. Okay. So 580,000 square feet divided by 43,000. We'll just round it off. Drum roll.
13.4
acres.
Yeah. Yeah. That's huge.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen. And if you want to put it in perspective, the Great Pyramid is 13 acres.
It's wild, and to see it, you do think that, wow, people and livestock, had to make this thing happen, and not just make it happen, but make it so symmetric.
Okay, what? And it took years.
Years.
It's nothing that happened. And with years. I'm talking 50, 100, maybe. I don't know.
Who knows? Yeah.
Like if you was 60, 50, 60, and your kids, that's what they did. Like say you're gonna be working on a pyramid.
And their kids too.
And their kids, you're gonna be working on a pyramid.
Yeah.
So somebody's kids would be like, I ain't touching that shit. And that's when it all just ended right there. I ain't touching that.
I'm done working on this pyramid.
No, because my dad would die. He died when he was 28 up there working on a pyramid.
Great grandpa died
Yeah,
working on this
all
pyramid.
of them did. They didn't even make it past 30. He's still up there somewhere in the rocks. But they found bodies in there, right? I mean, it's
inside the pyramids, yeah, absolutely, yeah. Now I think they're burial chambers, right?
yeah.
That was
All of them?
I think so. Yeah, I think they were built as a burial chamber, for
They should turn it into like a escape room.
an ancient escape room.
Yeah, escape room, man. If you can get out of this, then we'll give it to you. Yeah, that'd be crazy. So, with that being said, with the I don't know what I'm trying to say, but when you had that feeling, I mean, imagine these people building this thing. What drove those people? Like, what drives people to do something like that? Somebody had to be in charge of this, man.
Yeah.
Not just. I mean, somebody had to be in charge of this for hundreds of years, right? I don't know how long it took to build it. But
Yeah. I think that basically kind of to go back to my school days, trying to remember. I mean, of course, there's a pharaoh that's driving this action, right? Where they're saying,
yeah, but he can't live for that long.
Yeah, I mean, maybe there's smaller pyramids that didn't take that long, that were maybe.
Yeah, but that one though,
that one's
bro,
massive. Yeah.
13 acres.
Yeah.
Even an acre, even 100 yards. I mean, whatever. By yourself. I mean, not by yourself, but with a team of animals, and some of those rocks are as big. And I don't keep going on the pyramid here. But
I wonder if it's a spiritual thing too.
That's what I'm saying, man. I don't know. It could be a spiritual thing.
I mean, the spiritual thing driving you to see it through.
Like they're trying to build it all the way up to God or something.
Yeah.
Maybe. I don't know. We get to the top and
Something has to light your fire every day and throughout generations to do that.
maybe that was their mountain. They didn't know mountains over, right?
Not right there in Egypt. No, not where I was at.
Maybe.
Very flat.
Yeah.
Very dusty.
Yeah, so maybe they was like, we're gonna build a mountain,
Yeah.
a couple mountains, and I don't know, but a lot of people, there's so many conspiracy theories over the pyramids. It's insane, aliens designed it, or it's symmetrical with the. It is symmetrical with the stars. Forgot about that.
It's wild.
It's creepy, bro.
Yeah.
You can hear me whisper through here. These mics are sick, ain't they?
They are, yeah. Feeling at home now with
you
this
could-
mic in my face.
Yeah, if you even drink a Coke and you hear that little bubble and you hear that little fizz in
That's
your
a good
throat.
quality mic, Mike.
Oh, these are good mics, Mike. Yeah, man. So So what's your future? What's going on? Where you going?
Well, right now since I got back, I'm back into industrial sales. I took a a director role with my company. I'm doing that, but what's next for me in the scope of what we're talking about here? I want to finish New Zealand. I want to go see New Zealand.
Wow.
I want to put in some significant time there. I want to get down to South America and visit Patagonia, Argentina.
Yeah, Patagonia. That would be.
And
I may have to go with you on that.
You're more than welcome.
Yeah.
But I want to get down there and I want to tackle some of those mountains and get in the middle of that, that type of area.
Dude, I'm more, and the hiking and stuff is great, but I'm more of I need to go where the cliff divers are. I need to jump off some of them cliffs, bro.
Yeah.
I'm talking some swanning.
Full swan.
Full swan. Can you dive?
I can dive. Yeah.
I can dive, bro.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could do some gainers. Can you do a gainer?
So I spent 1 year on the dive team at Dobbins Bennett, So I still got some transferable skills.
No, look here, dude. I could do a gainer running. Okay, it's just how you go up and you try to do a layup or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I could do a gainer running. I don't know if I can do it at this age, but I'm sure I can. But summertime comes,
we'll test the theory.
A gainer, bro. And just off the side of the pool, jump out and then do a gainer.
Yeah,
that's hard to do.
It is, yeah, that whole momentum thing.
Because your whole mind's thinking, I'm gonna hit my head on the back of this pool, man.
Yeah,
but you don't.
Too.
And lifeguards flip out. They're like, man, what you doing, a gainer? You can't do it. You can't even do it on the board. Don't do it off the side of the pool. Right. That's hard to do.
Yeah.
But we used to put life jackets on, man, and at the city pool in Rogersville on a high dive, and do as many flips as your body could go. And they would let us do that.
And you're good. Probably made it harder though, right?
No, I mean, we did it because it wouldn't hurt as far as the water, popping you or whatever. Yeah. But and then we found out we had a guy from UT come up on the dive team, and he said he set some kids on the side of the pool or whatever, started splashing the water with their feet. So when you dive or when you had a belly bust, back buster, it wouldn't hurt as bad. When the water's flat is when you're in trouble.
Interesting. Yeah, they made it kind of choppy for you.
Yeah, so we made it choppy. It wouldn't hurt as bad.
Huh.
So we started doing that too, and that was pretty fun. But yeah, man, I could do all that stuff.
That's cool.
I've created my own dive too, man. I'd have to. You on the dive team for real?
1 year, yeah.
So what was your
Coach Gearing?
Wow. So what was your dive? What was your go-to dive, man?
I was a big 1.5 guy. Because I perfected in my view the 1.5. Nice clean release.
Nice clean pipe.
No
Not
splash.
Little pipe.
I can rock a little pipe too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
really?
a little pipe game. Yeah.
So man, you got to go over in one of these countries. You got to do some of that off them cliffs, man.
Something I haven't done yet, and I hate to say I've had the opportunity in Croatia, especially in Dubrovnik. There's just all kinds of cliff diving going on
see,
there.
that to me, that's where I get it. I would want to do some base jumping, and I don't know if I'm into the base jumping where I want to throw the chute out.
Yeah,
I like for them to be some water.
Some sort of a plan B, right?
Yeah, gotta have a plan B action going on. But now one time I did jump over this big somewhere down on Cherokee Lake, and I dove. Everybody was jumping. I wanted to dive, and then I felt it was so far. I was like, "Oh, this ain't gonna work. This ain't gonna end well." But I had that swan going.
Mm-hmm.
Everything was beautiful, and when I hit my neck, I mean the water was so just flat, dude. When I hit my neck. Flew back. Must have been the mullet I had that just it was so heavy, and I felt my neck crack, but it just popped it. But that I didn't do that no more. And that was a scary feeling. But most of the people that were jumping, they would jump straight in. They'd go down so far, it freaked me out, dude. I couldn't, because once you swan dive, once you hit, you automatically come
right. Yeah, if you're toothpicking or something like that, you're going
dangerous.
down quite a bit.
That is dangerous.
Yeah.
Because you could lose a lot of air, before you get back up.
That's right.
Because most people that jump, they don't realize you need to get the air before you hit. They get the air up here. They're like, and they're holding it all the way.
True.
And that's where they mess up at.
So have you ever had a desire to jump out of a plane?
I have.
Yeah.
Yeah. I have. I've had that desire plenty of times. I don't know that I will, because that's one of my biggest fears is flying. I freaking sucks to me, but. I flew to California, and I didn't think I was gonna come back. I said, man, I would rather freaking walk back, bro. But I did. I flew back. I mean, I don't know. Your mind is your worst enemy, bro.
I got a great story for you. about Tyler, if I could tell you real quick.
Absolutely.
So I've had a chance to skydive a couple times, and the first time I went was as a surprise for Tyler for his birthday. And I love telling this story because it's so Tyler. But we put him in the car, drove him out to East Tennessee Skydive. My buddy Corey Maples, shout out Corey, took us up, tandem skydive. So, we're watching the video, and the video's telling you every different way that you can die. We're sitting here looking at each other thinking, what are we doing, right? But then we get through the video, we sign our lives away on the consent, and then we get out and we're getting suited up. And they're putting the harness on us, getting us ready. And Tyler's real amped up about it. He looks at his tandem guy, and he says, hey, man, he's like, you guys ever do a flip out of the plane? And the guy's like, yeah, man, we can do whatever you want out of the plane. Tyler's like, yeah, I want to do a flip. The guy's like, all right, let's do it. Whoa. So we get locked up, and we get on this tuna can plane that you feel every single piece of turbulence on the way to the top.
Oh, my God.
And it's me and Corey. It's Tyler, his tandem partner. You got a videographer, and then you have the pilot. And we start to get up to altitude, and this is small plane circling all the way to 10,000 feet. And I look over at Tyler, and his face is getting a little bit white. He's a little bit nervous. And all of a sudden, I hear him say to his guy, he's like, hey, man, about that flip, don't worry about it. So Tyler was the first to go out of the plane. It was almost claw marks coming down the side of the plane to get him out.
Yeah, don't worry about that flip, bro.
Don't worry about the flip, man. I'm all set.
Yeah.
But what an experience, man. What an experience when we hit the ground. It was cool.
Oh, my God, dude.
It was awesome.
What's a good, funny moment happened to you over there in one of the countries you've been in?
There was a few. There was one story that I can tell you. I was in Norway. I'd been in a tent for about 3 days, and the rain was coming down.
Stinking, too, bro.
Yeah, stinking, man. I've been hiking, I've been living in this tent, beautiful places, but, I was a little tired, so I was ready for a shower, get out of the rain for a night. So I had a rental car that was parked down at the bottom of the trail. I hop in the rental car, I start driving just to find, maybe the nearest bed and breakfast. I get into this town, see a sign for bed and breakfast, go down the side street, but never found the bed and breakfast. So but I passed the house, and the house had this colorful sign on it. And I just kind of stopped. There were 3 people working in the garden, a guy and then 2 women. And I just pulled in. I said, hey, guys, where this bed and breakfast is? And they kind of started talking. They're like, not really. But you need somewhere to stay? I'm like, yeah. I'm like, well, stay with us. All right. Where do I park the car? So pulled up in the driveway, ended up hanging out with this amazing couple that had a huge farm right in the middle of this no-name town, in Norway. They invited me into their home. They took me through their garden. We're picking berries off the vine. They're showing me their way of life. But the funny part comes in. They played a lot of drums, like holistic drums. So it was probably 11 o'clock at night. I had to get up and roll out pretty early in the morning. I was like, guys, I'm going to go ahead and go to bed. And they're like, you don't want to play drums? I was like, well, I can't leave without playing drums.
You got to play some drums,
So
man.
they pulled drums off the wall, and we're sitting there, we're banging on drums till about 1 o'clock in the morning, just hanging out, man.
So 2-3 hours you were banging on some
just
drums.
Banging on drums. Like, they're telling me about their love for banging on drums. It was kind of a religious thing for them, too.
I got you, yeah.
So
it's a culture and
very
everything.
hippie, man, like cool hippie, and they would tell you that themselves.
So did they have? Did they ever get like a?
Oh, we had some rhythm going, man. I was
they had some
impressed. Yeah, it was East Tennessee kid meets the 2 true Norwegians, and we're just putting it all together, man, flowing.
That's sick.
Oh, it was cool. We had a good time.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Man. Let's go back to when you heard the news about your brother.
Yeah.
And how far apart are you guys? Are you older or younger?
I'm older. Yeah, I'm 3 years on him.
Okay.
Yeah.
So your big brother, and he wanted nothing more but to get you up here because of what you were doing. And
yeah, I mean, just so supportive over this whole thing.
Yeah, and you're and like I said, he texted me, he sent me a message, and I was like, oh yeah, dude, that'd be a great interview.
Yeah.
And then the next thing you know, I wake up and I was like, no way, dude. So then my mind automatically goes back to you. I'm thinking, where's this guy at in the country? I mean, in this planet right now.
Yeah.
Hearing this news, so I'm feeling the emotions that you had to deal with, because this is something nobody ever wants to go through, and you're doing something that's so hard anyway, and something that's so deep in you, and then you hear this on top of that. I don't know.
Yeah, it was, it was tough to say. I mean, it's the hardest moment of my life, I'll say, for a fact. But, a story that'll always stick out to me was when I did find the news out. I was a day off of Everest Base Camp, and I was at the tea house. Actually, my guide cheering, it was his family's tea house. And there was just a very small handful of people that were staying there. There was a gentleman from India named Arjun. And I'd met him the day before. We just really kind of hit it off and talking about his background, where he was from, the truck that he was on, so got to know some people there. And then the next day I get the news, and it's early in the morning. I'm the first person up, and I'm scrambling, trying to figure out, how do I get back to the States? So I'm knocking on doors, and cheering comes out, and I explained to him what's happened, and he's working hard trying to find me a helicopter to get me out of the Himalaya, back to where I can catch a commercial flight in Kathmandu. So, while he's trying to help me out, I'm down in the middle of this kind of a gathering area called a kitchen area or whatnot, living room type situation. And people are starting to come down for breakfast in the morning, and I'm trying to hold it together, but of course I'm emotional, I'm upset.
I can't imagine. Bro.
I'm shocked, and just trying to piece the whole thing together. And Arjun comes down and sees me and immediately knows something's not right. So he asked me, and I told him what had happened, and the guy wraps his arms around me, and then from that point on, Cheering's dad comes over, wraps his arms around me, and the whole group just came around and just would not leave my side, and I was draped with family, family ribbons, that they had prayed over in their Buddhist religion, just to show love towards me, and these guys wouldn't leave my side,
Wow.
It was really a powerful moment for me, and it just reminded me that, man, people are good. People are good. And my family was so concerned that I was going through this alone, but at the end of the day, I wasn't. I was surrounded by people that I didn't know from Adam, didn't know me, but they just showed love. Right. It was a powerful moment.
So I think maybe God knew. He knows all. He knows the plans. He knew where he was going to be at. He put the people in your life at the same time.
No question. No question.
So. Wow, it's
just another example of God looking out, because the pieces were in place. 'Cause I couldn't imagine going through that, just being completely solo. Not having anybody around you. It'd be a tough moment.
Yeah. I can't imagine. Period. That devastating. It's one thing if someone has cancer and for years and years, and it's coming. It still hits you when it happens, but that's a car wreck, bro. That was a shock.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it's hard to put it in words. I mean, it's just so sporadic and so pow. It just hits you, and how do you react?
So you came back here, and I sent you a message and telling you that we could still do this if you wanted to.
Yeah.
I didn't know where to go from that. So I knew that. Honoring him,
absolutely, yeah.
This would be a great thing. So
100%, and that's what this is. I mean, he wanted nothing more for me to have the chance to meet you and tell my story to people, because I think it encouraged him, you know, and to be able to encourage others was really what he was about. So
it was true, and I seen the video where all the balloons.
Yeah, we honored him that way. I mean, we just let the balloons go. It was a special moment, yeah.
And so one of these days, when you are in wherever you go, and then you're on the highest peak that you've ever been on, and you look down, and you see that balloon, you'll know.
Yes, sir.
You never know, bro.
You never know.
And balloons are gone, and they're floating all over this planet.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be something?
It would.
You could stop then. You'd be done.
I'm not going to be surprised when it happens.
How many balloons was it?
We didn't get a count. I don't think it was at least 100 balloons.
It was a lot.
Yeah, it was at least 100 balloons.
Yeah, and they're there. They're waiting on you to find one. You just got to find one, man.
What a sign that would be, huh?
Done. I've been in situations like that where and I do this with pennies. I do this with money. This is weird. It's my thing though. I never not pick up a penny. I don't care if it's on heads. I don't care if it's on tails. You know why I pick it up? It's got God's name on it, bro.
Oh man, it's cool. Yeah.
Pick it up, man, and you'll never be broke.
Yeah.
It's a penny. And people are like, bad luck. No, it ain't. You just found some money. Pick it up. Hey, look here. If it's $100 quarter or $100 bill, it's on tails. You ain't gonna pick it up. You ain't walking away. I'm gonna pick up every penny I see. And it's funny. Sometimes I'll be in a situation, good or bad or whatever, and I'll be walking back in the truck, look down at a penny. I know I'm at the right spot.
Man, I love it. I love it.
I know I'm at the right spot. I pick it up. I pick everyone I see up. I don't care.
Yeah.
That's my thing. That's just everybody's got their thing. And heads, tails, I'm picking it up. It's got God's name on it. And God we trust. I trust. I pick it up, put it in my pocket.
That's it, man.
Never be broke.
Love it.
So, yeah, that's it. What do you think, man? So you went to volunteer, huh? Volunteer high school?
I went to DB.
Went to DB?
Yeah,
bro.
DB class of
So
2000.
So volunteer, I thought you went to volunteer.
No, I grew up in Hawkins County. I could have went to volunteer, but
Oh, okay.
you know, all my friends were at DB.
I got you, man. So I'm an Indian too. I'm a Chief Cherokee. I'm a Cherokee, bro.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So speaking of that, Super Bowl tomorrow,
Super
man.
Bowl, yeah, big game.
Who you got, man?
You know, I'm gonna have to go Chiefs probably.
I'm gonna go
'cause
Chiefs.
They beat my Titans.
I'm gonna go Chiefs. So I'm a Cowboy fan. So
Okay.
you know, yeah, they did.
You know, Patrick Mahomes is a beast, right? We all know that.
Phew.
I think the 49ers probably have the most complete team.
Yeah,
You know, if we're looking at it, but
Chiefs is they're
they're
hot
good.
right now,
They're
bro.
good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go them Indians, man. See, my Cowboys didn't go. I'm gonna go the Indians. I'm gonna go the other route.
There you go.
So as long as it ain't the Redskins, you know, I
Right.
like my Chiefs, though, man. But yeah, man, it's good talking to you, bro. I'm telling you, this is
It's
good.
been a pleasure, man.
This is
Really
good.
enjoyed it.
So was you in the military? You're in the military?
Wasn't
No?
in the military, no.
Me either. I was an Army kind of a brat, if you will. I was born in Fort Bragg.
Mm.
I think my mom says I was almost born on an airplane. Maybe that's my fear of it. Maybe that's why I have a.
That would make sense.
Said,
Yeah.
you know, where they landed and I was out. You know, so I don't know. But yeah, it's crazy, man. I was born over Fort Bragg, in North Carolina. Never been back since.
Now Fort Bragg, is that not where the special ops are, right?
Yeah, my dad was Special Forces, 82nd Airborne.
Yeah, man.
So, man, it's good talking to you, bro.
You too, bud. Thanks for having me.
And Jason Salley, man, y'all check him out on his Facebook. What's that hashtag you use?
The TriStar Trekker. So
TriStar Trekker. Where'd that come from?
you know, I just being TriStar, being in Tennessee, and then Trekker, it just kind of flowed. You know, but if anybody out there wants to check out my blog, you know, I've done all the writing and the pictures from my trip. It's www.thetristartrekker.wordpress.com. So it lines out my entire trip, and my future trips will be on there too.
Wow. So how many more you got, you think?
We'll see. I got a long list of things to check off.
Man, I want to do something. Listen, if you want to do something local, let's go to Mount LeConte. I'd like to go to Mount LeConte with
Would
you.
love to, man.
Maybe get my son, take him back for like a reunion, and go to LeConte.
I'd love to. That'd be fun.
And it's a good full day. It's a good day. It's 12 miles, I think, round trip. So it's not that bad.
Let's
but,
do it, man.
man, you have to have it's a year's reservation to stay up there.
Yeah, I heard they had lodges up there, maybe
They do.
cabins or whatnot.
And they built everything from. Of course, you can't get anything up there. It's all horseback and llama and mule. They trekked everything up to build.
Yeah.
And they have a well up there that you can actually fill your water bottles or canteen or whatever you got up, and that's the best water ever. I don't know why they do not sell that water, LeConte water, man.
That sounds awesome.
Right?
Yeah, let's go get some of that.
That's why I tell people, and y'all could check me out if y'all want to. You can do all these water tests. Evian water tastes different. I don't care what anybody says. Evian water is good, bro.
I haven't had that. For me, I mean, it's Fuji water and some
You've
different
never had
ones.
Evian?
I haven't, man. I haven't. I'm going to have to when I leave here,
You've
though.
never had Evian water?
I haven't.
Am I saying it right?
It sounds right. I mean, I know what you're talking about.
Because I know it ain't Evan.
Evian sounds right to
Evian.
me.
Listen, Evian it's a different taste, and if you look at the history or how they do that, they have a factory or whatever outside of the mountain, and it filters itself through the mountain. Okay, through all the rock, through all the everything, and that's the best water. It comes from a glacier, bro.
Hey, man, you can't go wrong with water like that. It's as natural as you get.
You can't. It coming from heaven.
Water from heaven.
Hey, Evian's God's water, man, and they, it's good if it's got that little thing on it they give the babies.
Well, yeah, it's got to be good then. For sure.
So
Evian.
pretty good, man. Evian. This is sponsored by. No, it ain't. I wish it was. I wish it was. Yeah, I got to do a lot of editing on this, but this is fun, man.
Man,
I
it's
don't
fun.
get up, man. I don't get up.
This is a lot of fun.
Got the fire going, bro.
It's cool, man.
Yeah, this is not my new studio, by the way. So we was going to go outside and do this, but
Had a little bit of rain today. But man, how beautiful is this out here in your backyard? I mean, this is
I appreciate
What a
it,
treat, man.
Yeah, it's cool, man. I got a long ways to go. I got one room ready for Jason today, so we could do a little filming, and this is not going to be the studio, so don't be asking me about these signs back there. How much is that on the wall back there? But yeah, man, it's good seeing you, bro.
You too, bud. Thanks for having me.
Stay away from viruses when you go out.
I'll do my best.
Yeah. Peace.
Hey, that was awesome, Mike. Real cool, man.